Hello, students. Welcome you all to this online platform of BA Part 3 English Honors. Let me resume the novel titled Untouchable once again. As you know, I have already delivered few lectures regarding this novel, and today I am going to dwell on the topic MULKRAJ Anand as a realist. What do you understand by the word realist? Realist stands for one who see and accept things as they really are. The novel Untouchable tries to mirror a faithful picture of contemporary India. The condition of the life of the untouchables are realistically portrayed without exaggeration. The novel brings to light the crude and barbarous behavior of the high caste Hindus with sweepers who clean their dirt. It reveals hypocrisy of the Hindu society. The novelist artistically depicts everything: toilets, dirt, poverty, disease, and life in dark and dingy hovels. The novel portrays the condition of the sweeper in the Indian society as very sad. Baka, the protagonist, represents the sweeper's community in this novel. He remains isolated from the privileged ones whose dirt and excrete he cleans. He is treated as an outcast who is deprived from social intercourse and the consolations of his religion. The author, Dr. Anand, the champion of the underdog, exposes social hypocrisy and taboos, class exploitation and class struggle, social and economic injustice, and the inhuman atrocities of the British rule in his novels. He learned of the technique of realistic portrayal from eminent masters of Indian fiction like Tagore, Bankim Chandra, Premchand, and Sharat Chandra, and European novelists like Chekhov, Flaubert, and Tolstoy. He is a minute observer of life, society, and human character, and does not leave even the ugliest and most unpalpable situations aside. Everything: toilets, dirt, squalor, beggars, poverty, disease, and prostitution. Prostitution is beautifully described in his novels. He sees both the seamy and ugly sides of life minutely and portrays them realistically. The background of his novels is realistic. His novels are based in his own experience and observations of the lives of the outcasts and peasants and soldiers and working people. Institutions and authority are the instruments of exploitation and injustice. Class distinctions between the rich and the poor, between the tea planters and the indentured laborers, between high caste Hindus and the dregs of humanity known as untouchables, hamper the free development of individuals and result in numerous social evils. All these social institutions and distinctions are abominable, abominable to him, and he expresses his righteous anger at them. The grim spectacles of social injustice, usually depicted in his novels, are the reflections of real happenings the novelist saw in his early life. He presents simple and noble human beings enmeshed in the net of poverty or injustice. They struggle to come out of it, but they are helpless to shake off the coils of social evil. There is no villain in his novels. Authority and social evils have assumed the role that fate or destiny had in ancient Greek tragedy or the villain had in Shakespearean tragedy. Dr. Anand is the unflinching champion of equality, justice, and fair play. The village moneylenders, priests, tea planters, and caste Hindus who recklessly oppress the bottom dog have to bear the lash of Dr. Anand's satire. Dr. Anand does not write about bejailed Maharajas and their countless court mistresses. He treats the peasants, the sweeper, the city drudge, the sepoy, and the plantation laborer, the anguished and hungry, the superstitious and self-divided, with sympathy and respect due to them as human beings. Dr. Anand's novels depict some outstanding social problems. His first novel, that is Untouchable, I am going with, exposes the inhuman and unjust authority of caste Hindus over the untouchables, whereas the untouchable describes realistically the life of an untouchable. The coolie takes up realistically the life of a coolie of Munnu, the protagonist, a peasant boy who leaves his home in the hills and becomes a domestic servant. He passes through many vicissitudes in his life. He works as a coolie in the vegetable market, and then he is employed in a mill where he has to tolerate the inhuman and harsh behavior of Jimmy, the foreman, and at last works as an Anglo Indian ladies rickshaw puller in Shimla and dies of tuberculosis. In this novel, too, Dr. Anand brings into focus the class conflict between the rich and the poor. His another novel titled Two Leaves and a Bird deals with the problem of indentured labor. It depicts realistically the miserable and sorrowful conditions of laborers in tea gardens. They are not only the bond slaves, but the honor and chastity of their wives and daughters is also at stake. The portraiture of the life of the people in tea gardens is also a direct outcome of Anand's close experience with the life of the tea gardeners and planters. Dr. Anand's famous trio, that is the village across the black waters, the sword and the sickle, describes the days of his youth. It deals with the life of Lal Singh, a sensitive village boy. His another novel, titled The Village, highlights the problem of the landlord's inhumanity and injustice and the poverty of Sikh family. Lal Singh, Lalu, is falsely indicted by the landlord and leaving his parents in debt, he runs away and joins the army. Across the Black Waters is written about an Indian regiment in the wake of the First World War. The life of soldiers, their humorous conversation, their hard work and death is realistically portrayed. The sword and the sickle presents the contrast between the life of soldiers and that of peasants. The war is over and Lalu comes to India and wants to cash in the gains of his army life. His another novel, titled The Big Heart, depicts the conflict between the machine and a small community of coppersmiths and thatchers who are deprived of their livelihood because of the machine. Seven Summers and Morning Face are two autobiographical novels which beautifully describe the reminiscence of the novelist's life. Private life of an Indian prince depicts with realism the licentiousness, moral turpitude, sedition, and display of pomp and show in the princely estates of India. The novel ends with the integration of Shyampur state with the Indian Union. Sardar Patel, the dawn of India's freedom, struggle and politics, whose unflinching efforts brought about the integration of the princely estates with India, is vividly portrayed. Thus, the novels of Dr. Anand depicts domestic, economic, social, and political realities of India of 1930s. He has rightly been hailed as the first writer to have dispelled the myth built around the Indian character, the myth about contentment in the midst of poverty, mystical silence, spiritual attainment, etc. In his novels, the Indian people have been clearly and intimately described with unflinching realism and deep under- understanding and exploiters the exploiters. According to Anand, art is as much a tool in the service of mankind as science is. He does not believe in the principle of art for sake of art. He holds the principle of art for the sake of life. He wants to reform society through art. According to him, the conquest of pain should be the supreme goal of all individuals and all nations. His philosophy is inveterate opposition of fascism, feudalism, imperialism, and all other similar tendencies which come in the way of man's effort to achieve freedom. That is why he opposes caste, greed, untouchability, and communalism. He believes in democracy and socialism and the peaceful coexistence of all nations and peoples. It is an advocate of these principles and the principle of equality, liberty, and fraternity. So I wish to conclude now and shall do rest in your next class. Till then, goodbye and have a nice day.